Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so we've got a bunch of source material here today.
We do.
And we're really getting into something that properly rattled the boat on Below Deck Season 12.
Yeah, this specific incident. Crew member, married guest. We're pulling back the curtain based on what these sources tell us.
Exactly. The mission, basically, is to sift through all this info.
Yep. Cut through the noise, find the key facts, the insights.
And really get why this whole thing was such a big deal, you know? The ripple effects.
Understand the impact.
Right, because it's a mix, isn't it? You've got this crew member, Kyle Stillie, seems trustworthy. Then a guest who's married, so off limits.
Big red flag there.
A late night thing happens, rumors start flying.
And then the captain, Captain Kerry, with his own past.
Yeah.
It makes it super personal for him.
Which leads to the big question the sources pose. What actually happened when maybe the cameras weren't quite catching it all?
Okay, let's get into it. The scene setting.
Yeah, so the material we looked at, it starts off, well, pretty standard, right?
Totally. Just another charter.
Yeah.
Crew's busy, guests have needs.
And Kyle Stillie, the deckhand.
He's just described as, being his usual self.
Yep.
Charming Scottish guy, part of the team. Nothing out of the ordinary at first glance.
But then, almost right away, the sources flag this undercurrent.
Yeah, whispers start up among the crew. People are noticing things.
Like what specifically?
Well, they mentioned one guest, the married one, spending maybe a bit too much time near Kyle.
Okay.
And it wasn't just, hanging around. The sources talk about glances that lasted a bit too long, conversations that felt kind of private, maybe too private for the setting, just a vibe, a connection that felt off.
Unprofessional.
But nobody had solid proof.
Not yet. That's what the material states explicitly.
Yeah.
But no one had proof, not yet. Just feelings, observations.
Until
Yeah.
the breaking point, an incident was reported.
And boom.
Right.
That phrase gets Captain Kerry Titheradge's attention instantly.
The highest authority. And like we touched on, for him, this wasn't just procedural. No, this is where it gets deeper. The sources really emphasize this personal angle.
His own history with infidelity.
Exactly. He's been open about his own personal battles, as the sources put it. He gets how betrayal can scar people deeply.
More than most realize, perhaps.
Yeah. So hearing about a potential boundary cross with a married guest, the sources say it struck a nerve.
Not just as the captain.
But as a man, that personal history just amplified everything.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so the sources say Kyle gets called in, questioned directly.
Confronted about the allegation.
And his response?
He denied it. Denied anything inappropriate happened.
And the guest?
She apparently remained vague. Not exactly clearing things up.
So you've got denials and vagueness, but the mood on the boat.
Oh, that changed. Big time. The sources make it clear. Trust started to crack right then and there. Tension ramped up.
Captain Kerry didn't just let it sit, though.
Nope. Swift action. He launched an internal investigation.
Which, the sources know, is actually rare on Below Deck.
Yeah, that detail suggests this was seen as way more serious than just, a minor crew issue. This was potentially major.
Because the stakes were huge for Kyle, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Job, reputation, maybe his whole future in yachting, especially being on the show. It was all on the line if this stuff was true. The sources really stress that.
So the investigation kicks off. What did that involve, according to the material?
Well, interviews, obviously. Talking to other crew members.
Getting their takes.
And then diving into the footage, whatever they had. Replaying moments, analyzing interactions between Kyle and the guest, trying to piece together the timeline, the context.
Sounds thorough, but did it clear things up?
That's the thing. The sources suggest it actually got more complicated. Messier.
How so?
Conflicting stories started popping up. Some crew apparently said they saw nothing suspicious at all.
Okay.
But others kind of hinted there was more to it than Kyle was letting on.
So not a clear picture.
Not at all. The material uses this great phrase. The truth started slipping through fingers like sand. Sounds like it was incredibly hard to, pin down what actually occurred.
And adding to that messiness, the guest herself.
Right. She's married, her husband isn't there, and her behavior, both generally and around this incident, apparently raised questions.
What kind of questions?
The sources sort of posed them directly. Was she the one initiating things? Pushing the boundary?
Or was it Kyle who stepped over the line?
Or even if it was mutual, some kind of spark, is that okay? Given the rules?
Yeah, because there are rules. The sources mention that unspoken code, that very clear line. Crew and guests do not mix, period.
It's there for a reason. protects everyone, the crew, the guests, the boat's reputation.
So the conflict becomes, okay, chemistry happens sometimes, professionalism wavers, but who's responsible then?
Is it all on the crew member? Or does the guest share some blame if they're, maybe encouraging it? It's complex.
How did Captain Kerry handle navigating that complexity? The sources paint him as pretty firm.
Very firm on the rules. He apparently said things like, the rules aren't suggestions. Made it clear being popular wouldn't protect someone if they compromised integrity.
But not just firm, right. There was empathy, too.
Yeah, that's the interesting part. Unlike maybe some captains who just distanced themselves, he didn't hide the personal connection. He admitted it brought back his own painful past.
Making the betrayal feel even heavier for him.
Exactly. That personal weight adds another dimension to his handling of it.
Okay, so the investigation happens, it's messy. What was the immediate aftermath described in the sources? Did Kyle get fired?
This is where it gets kind of anticlimactic in a way. He actually remained on the yacht.
Really? After all that?
Yeah, but under a microscope. Intense scrutiny. Every interaction, every smile, every word was apparently being reevaluated by the crew, maybe by production too.
And the fans watching later?
Oh, the sources mentioned the fan reaction was huge, totally split online. Some defending him, saying there's just rumors. Others convinced he was hiding something, like picking apart every second of footage.
So no dramatic firing. His fate was just left hanging.
Pretty much. Suspended is how the sources put it, which leaves all these open questions.
Like, did they ever find actual undeniable proof?
Or was it just too murky? Too much he said, she said, not enough concrete evidence to make a final call.
Could it have been a misunderstanding blown way out of proportion?
Or was it something serious but just, unprovable beyond doubt? The sources leave all those possibilities on the table.
So the big picture takeaway, according to the material we reviewed, what did this incident do to the show, to the dynamic?
The sources are pretty definitive here. They say it changed the dynamic of Below Deck forever.
How so?
That core trust, the bond between crew members living in those tight quarters, broken, tested.
And the fundamental rules?
Tested. That line between crew and guests got seriously blurred in a very public way. It left everyone feeling kind of shaken, both on the boat and probably watching at home.
And we're ultimately left without knowing the full story.
That's the sense the sources give, that the complete, unvarnished truth of whatever happened between Kyle and that guest. It might just stay below deck, unknown.
Yeah, it really wasn't tied up with a neat bow on the show, was it? Leaves you thinking. Was it all just, like, gossip and speculation run wild? Or is there still more to it? Secrets that even the investigation, maybe even the cameras, didn't fully uncover.
Because, as the sources hint pretty strongly,
On that yacht, the real drama often happens when nobody's actually watching.
a truly lingering mystery indeed.
Absolutely is. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the source material on that one.